So good morning everyone. I hope everyone is doing fine, and whoever watched the previous class where we have discussed PYQ of research aptitude, we explained, we talked about like 15 questions, and today in this class we are going to continue from 16th, and we'll have 3 classes. We'll try to cover 20 more questions, and also if possible we'll try to finish if possible, otherwise we'll have the third part. This is our second part of the class. So anyway, whoever is there, write in the chat box hi, so we'll begin right away. Okay, so anyway, question number 16, we'll just continue. We have 1 hour and we'll try to finish as many as questions as we can. Great. So I hope everyone is ready. I am ready. My coffee is ready. I hope you're also ready to attend this class. Fine. So question number 16. Now question number 16 is talking about if the research is to be conducted on very young children. Remember that. If the research is to be conducted on very young children or inarticulated person, which one of the following method will be appropriate in this situation? Anyway, as we begin every class, first one is always with the answer, and the later which will follow with only option, and then you have to answer in the chat box, and we'll have explanation for particular. So again, the question is, it is about a research to be conducted on very young children. Which one of the following method you will choose? Great. So tell me, it is experiment, survey, observation, and case study, case history. So the answer says observation. Why observation? So when you are conducting a research on a young children or articulate person, you may not be able to effectively communicate their thoughts, right? Because children are very young, and asking about their feelings and experience would be difficult for them, right, to express. So what we do, we observe, right? So this may not be able to effectively communicate their students' feelings or experience. Observation is an appropriate method. And why observation is here important? Because it allows researchers to directly observe and document their behavior, their interaction, and other relevant aspects of participants' environment. Fine. So that's why we need observation method to do the research on very young children. Fine. I hope it's clear. So this method can provide valuable insight into the behavior and development of the individuals who may have difficulty expressing themselves verbally or through other traditional research methods. Fine, I hope you understood this. And why experiment and survey method typically rely on participants' ability to understand, but when it comes to young children, it is quite difficult to have articulate their thoughts. So while useful in certain situations, case study often involves retrospective data collection and may not capture real time observation of the behavior or the development of the children, right? So therefore observation is most appropriate method in this research that we are conducting on young children. Fine. Question number 17, we have it is about what the objective. So remember, keyword objective, exploring the existing literature should be identified which of the following issues. So it is objective of existing literature, right? So this is our keyword here. It is talking about the literature should be identified which of the following issues. So you have to answer, just read, and whatever you feel you can just write in the chat box. And meanwhile, what I'll do, I'll explain about it, right? So question number 17 says that the objective of exploring the existing literature should be identified which of the following issues. You have to answer right now in the chat box quickly. So the first one says, what is already known about this area, right? So when you do literature, existing literature, you read about it, right? You review all the literature related to particular research topic that you are going to do. So it definitely involve what is already known about this area, fine, right? So this should include in our option. So it seems like all three option has the second one, so we can just eliminate this. We are left with three options, so one is definitely there. What about the second one? What concept and theories are relevant to this area? Easily, right? You can just through the judgment and through reading the option. Of course, that's why you are doing existing literature, right? You have to find the concept and theories related to particular area that we are going to we are going to do the literature review, right? So that must be there. So where is A and B? It seems like all three option, right? So this is your work. And see how to get funding for the research. Well, research is not always about funding, right? I mean, get fund and just enjoy your life or something like that, right? Of course we need fund to do the research, but how to get funding, that doesn't really apply. So we can just eliminate. So if you eliminate this, we are left with C in two option is not there. Only we have here, right? A, B, and C is not there, so that you can easily eliminate. So D says, what are the significant controversy in this area? Of course, when you are doing a literature review regarding your particular area of interest or topic or whatever the research you are doing, that it says, of course you are trying to find what is already known, of course, and what theories and concept have already been relevant to particular area, and what are the controversy regarding this particular, of course that involves that. So it also include, right? So ABD, where ABD together here only, right? And E is also there in the option, and automatically you will find that it is your right answer. But anyway, we'll just move we'll just know the third E option, and that says, are there any inconsistent in the finding of the area? Of course, when you are doing all the literary review, what you want to find, what kind of things it has already been done, and of course what are the findings, right? So that is also included. So A, B, D, E. So A, B, D is here. That is our correct answer, right? And answer, of course, it says great, we're doing fine. So what, when we exploring what existing literature, the objective is to identify what is already known, that I already explained, what concept and theories are relevant, definitely, and what are the significant controversy in this area, and at the end, are there any inconsistencies in the finding of this area? Fine. So that is our question number 17. We answered it quickly. It was like easy for you guys if you just know about particular literature review, right? And it's also one of these steps in the research, right? So question number 18 says, again we have assertion and reason type of question, and it is talking about what observable phenomena, that is concept. So the state assertion says, a proposition is a statement about observable phenomena, concept that may be judged as true or false. So what do you think? Of course, when you do the observe, you are talking about what that are judged as true or false or valid or invalid, right? So that seems correct for us. And because also when it is about reason, we add because when a proposition is formulated for empirical testing, it is called a hypothesis. But the statement seems true because, of course, when we do empirical kind of testing, we create a hypothesis, hypothetical, deductive, or inductive can be, right? So that is our true. But because when a proposition is formulated or for empirical testing, it is called hypothetical. But it doesn't like make good sense of it if you add because into it. So it seems like both are correct, but not the correct explanation, right? So that should be our answer, and let's see what is that. And it is the same one. Great. So quite easy, right? This is all from the previous year. That it is basically from 2022 exam, I guess. Yes, 2020, not 2021. Okay, so no, 2022, yeah. So the correct answer our this one, and why we'll just explain a little bit better. So when we do a proposition, as we know, it is a statement about observable phenomena or the concept that may be judged true or false, right? And this statement is correct because a proposition is declarative statement that expresses a relationship between concepts or variable and can be evaluated for its truth value. So it is a claim or assertion about the world that can be tested and verified through empirical observation. Reason says that when a proposition is formulated for empirical theory, it is called hypothesis, right? So this statement is also correct. Hypothesis, as we know, it is a proposition or the statement that is formulated for the empirical testing, and it is testable prediction or a statement that seeks to explain the relationship between again variable and the concepts. And why, however, reason is not correctly correct explanation of a assertion, because hypothesis is a proposition formulated for empirical testing, right? Not all proposition are necessarily hypothesis. So proposition can exist in various forms, including general statement, theoretical claims, or explanatory statement, while hypotheses are specifically designed for the empirical investigation. So our answer is what simple. Both are true, but reason doesn't explain assertion, right? So again we have the question again about the two statements. Again, one statement is talking about what context of discovery. Okay, it is about the findings, right? The context of discovery involves non-rational intuitive process, while context of justification is based on logical process, right? So the statement one says it is about, of course, findings, whatever the research you have done, whatever the conclusion you are arrived, involves what? Non-rational intuitive process, while context of justification based on logical process. Statement second says the process of hypothesis generation, what doesn't strictly follow rigorous logical reasoning. Why? Seems like little bit. So the process of hypothesis, of course, generation doesn't strictly follow rigorous logical reasoning. It can be, right? Anyway, we'll see the explanation. Answer is both the statements are correct. That's good. And let's see why. Statement one says about the context of discovery involves non-rational and intuitive, right? And why this is generally true in the process of scientific inquiry. The context of discovery refers to the creative and explanatory phase, where research generate ideas, formulate hypotheses, and make intuitive leaps, right? And statement 2 says that the process of hypothesis doesn't strictly follow rigorous logical. Why? Because hypothesis generation often involves creative and intuitive thinking, where research generate potential explanation or prediction based on their understanding of the topic. So prior knowledge or insight gained from the observation of the explanatory data analysis, and therefore both the statements are correct. Again, here we are talking about now we are going to match list 1 from the list 2, and here is the context, and the second one is the list 2. Second is about the explanation, right? Examples. So first we'll know what we know. I mean, we'll just go with whatever the known topic. All are known anyway, but whatever the easiest one, you select one. So BC is inductive. So when it is about inductive, it is about what? It is about survey. It is about, right? The deductive is all about numerical data, right? And inductive is not about numerical data, but it about different, right? So first and also the thing is here, inductive reasoning could be, let's see what, form the particular to. Of course it's like easy peasy, right? You form from the particular and then generalize. It seems like B is the first one. It should be, because they are talking about particular to generalization. General to particular is deductive, right? So that could be B1. Where can we find B1? It seems we have only 2 options, so 2 is automatically eliminated. And then it is talking about the context of discovery, right? The first one, that is about finding and the discovery, right? So what do you think it could be? So is it, of course, first one, all testing or verifying the hypothesis? That cannot be, right? Inductive. And hypothesis generation. So that is what, right? We come to the one point that it is about particular and generalization. The second step, we just get the statement and we form that. So it seems like context of discovery is like the discovery, right? We are forming a statement. Could be hypothesis. Testing and verifying the hypothesis could be later, anyway. So inference based on some observation. So some observation cannot be. Context of discovery seems hypothesis generation. So we'll just move it as a question. Maybe it is that, but we'll see anyway. So abductive is about that I told you now. It is about generating like the best example, right? Best explanation of hypothesis to account to observe phenomena or data, right? So abductive could be our which one? 4. C could be abductive, inference based on some observation, of course. So as I told you, inductive is about particular to general, and inductive is about general to particular, and abductive is about the inference. It is about 2 phenomena and we get the inference based on that. So it is that one. So C is 4. Where we can find the C is 4? C4, it seems in here, right? So A3 is B1, of course, and C4. We are left with D2, right? Context of justification, of course, testing and verifying the hypothesis. So our correct answer is this. And C is correct. So here context of discovery is the generalizing of new ideas, can be hypothesis and theories. It is associated with creative and explanatory thinking. Hypothesis generation is what is a key aspect of the context of discovery, and it involves proposing potential explanation or prediction based on observations. This is the same one. You can get the explanation in in your Google Classroom. So anyway, inductive, as I told you, general to particular, right? So general or making conclusion based on a specific pattern. So what is that one? Particular to general, inductive reasoning, right? So one from the particular to generalization is some example is also there. This example aligns with the concept of inductive reasoning, whereas specific observation are used to derive broader general. Abductive is all about inferences, right? So this involves generating the best explanation or hypothesis to account for observed phenomena or data. So it is based on inference based on some observation. Context of justifying is about testing or verifying hypothesis, right? Question number 21. If, now we are talking about answer you already saw. Anyway, so if a survey, it is about survey, is conducted telephonically, okay, we are calling them and doing the survey, which of the following statement do it improves the quality of data? Well, quality of data can not improve. You have to go and do face to face interview, then it is more like quality data is there. But it improves the validity research. Not like that. You have to go and particular get an interview, right? Do survey face to face, that is can be valid. It reduces the cost of data. Of course, when you are going and doing all this, it requires a fund, right? I mean, it reduces the cost of data collection. And the fourth one says it makes participant comfortable. It's not like that. So what is the close answer? We feel like it reduces the cost of data collection. Why? Because conducting a survey telephonically can help to reduce the cost of data collection compared to other methods, such as face to face. If you go interview or mail survey, telephonic survey eliminate the need for travel expense, printing cost, postage fees associated with the other survey method. So that is our it reduces the cost of data collection. Fine. And question number 22, the following activities are related to the conduct experiments. So it is talking about experiments in social research. So when you do an experiment in social research or social in society, what is there? So read the option and write in the chat box quickly if you know the answer. Otherwise we'll just move to the explanation, right? So we'll just move experiments in social research. Activities, they are talking about activities. What activities are involved in doing the experiment in social research? So is it control the experiment environment? Is it? Or B, pilot test, revised test? Of course, whenever we do research on social or maybe in other, we do the especially in case study in other, we do the pilot test, right? Revise, and so it should be there. So B is where it seems like all three option has the B1 and only one option doesn't have B. So we can just do empathy with the participant, that or praising the good qualities of the participants, and that is like the more specify the treatment level. So it seems the activities are this E should be there because it is a little bit closer than all these things, right? So our answer could be E and B, where E and B is together in this option, right? A and B. So that should be our correct answer, A, B and E, right? So what happened? Control the experiment environment. That was we were not sure about it. So this involves carefully managing and manipulating the condition of the variable that can be independent or dependent variable, right? Independent involves we manipulate that independent variables, and then we get the outcomes or the consequences of that manipulation, and that is our dependent variable, right? So settings to ensure consistency and control over potential confounding factors, right? So of course we do pilot test. It is not about only social, but of course we do in other type of research also. So before conducting the main experiment, it is common practice to pilot test the procedure measure to identify issues and necessary revisions, right? And E, it is specify the treatment level through what do we understand by that? because it defines and specifies the different level of condition of the treatment being tested, right? And C and D are not directly related to conduct of experiment in social research. Therefore, our answer is A, B, and E, right? Question number 23 is about these are the research form here, and we have the description. So we'll just go quantitative. So it is about, if it is about quantitative, you can easily answer that it is about a statistical analysis, right? So you'll just find which one has B3. So B3 seems in only one option, right? So you can just easily answer this, right? So quickly, even one thing about. And what about the A, qualitative one? Qualitative research, is it file drawer problem? I don't think so. And is it conversion of finding based on the multiple? No, it is not. An interpretive, of course, when we have the interpretive kind of data, right? So that is our correct. So A, 4, B3. And triangulation is related to conversion of finding and finding based on the multiple triangulation, right? So that is our. And meta-analysis, we are left with file drawer problem. Fine, was easy, right? It was quite easy to answer that. And this is the explanation. Qualitative research is always associated with what? Interpretive approach. Where the researcher, or if you are doing that qualitative kind of research, you aim to understand and interpret social phenomena through subjective meaning and experiences, right? And it involves in-depth exploration and analysis of qualitative data such as interview. Qualitative research always use what? Primary and secondary data. Primary data is what you go and do the interviews face to face. Secondary is what you get it from somewhere else, right? Somebody has done it, and then you take from that particular person or particular sources. That is your secondary data. Fine. So qualitative research is always about what? Understand and interpret social phenomena, right? Sorry. And quantitative is always include what? Numerical data, that is statistical, right? Easy. And triangulation is a research technique that involves using multiple methods, right? So data sources or researcher to examine a research question from different perspective. And meta-analysis is a statistical method that used to combine and analyze the result of multiple studies on a particular topic, right? So it involves what? Quantitatively synthesize finding from different studies and robust understanding of the topic. Fine. Question number 24 is in your screen. You have to answer. I hope you can see the question here. If I move a little bit up, you will find the answer. Anyway, if you know the answer of question number 24, write in the chat box quickly. So which among the following is valid criticism of experimental method in social science? So it is talking about valid criticism of experimental method in social science. That is our question, and answer you have to write in the chat box if you know, otherwise I'll just explain what happens. So impossible to conduct in social situation. Of course, if you do the criticism in other form, it will be really difficult for you, right? So conduct in social, first we'll find which is the unavailability of good experiment in social science. Valid criticism in social science, unavailability of good experiment. Why? There are so many experiments already has been done in social science, right? So it is not like unavailability, cannot be. But anyway, social research problem cannot be studied experimentally, why it can be studied. We can experiment on social problem also. So this too is not our answer. Artificial of laboratory conditioning, that is quite different, but that will be the answer. But let's see, it is the answer. And why? One valid criticism of experimental method in social sciences is the artificiality of laboratory condition, and social phenomena and human behavior are complex, as we know, and influenced by various factors such as their social, cultural and environmental context. Experiment conducted in controlled laboratory setting may not fully capture the complexity of nuances in real world. The artificial way can limit the generalization. So that is our criticism, valid criticism, right? So it is right. So question number 25, again it is about statement and two statements, and we have to find which one is correct. If both are correct, we can opt that too. So if the length of psychological test is increased, okay, so if the length of, it is about psychological test is increased, it improves both reliability and validity. Is it improve both reliability and validity? It seems that should be our answer. So the score of test can be interpreted without referring to its norm. So statement 1 seems correct, second is a little bit what with the answer will understand that the second statement is incorrect. Why it is incorrect? Because this interpretation of a test score often requires a referring to its norm or comparison group. So norm is what? You remember that? Norm, reference criterion, and criterion exam, that evaluation. So that is also there, right? So norm provide a reference point of interpreting individuals. So what is criterion based reference? That we have a set of criteria that the student has to score to pass the exam, right? And it doesn't affect the result of the other student. Norm, when it comes to norm reference, it is a kind of that it depends on participants or students result. Suppose if somebody scores more, that will definitely affect on your score, right? So that is norm reference that we have already discussed in our classroom, Google Class. It is there, and also we had the lecture based on that too. So poor analysis. Now we are talking about poor analysis in research, in historical research, is due to what? Impersonal interpretation, overgeneralization, oversimplification, or emphasis on objective assessment. If you know the answer, you can just write. So the answer would be somewhere three options. So we have 3 in ABC. We have 5, and 3 of them is our answers, right? So if you know, you can just write in the chat box. A, impersonal interpretation, poor analysis. Of course we have to do impersonal interpretation. That is not poor analysis, right? That is like solid. It is the part of historical research. That should not be there in the option. So A, where is A? It seems into option we can just easily eliminate. B says emphasis on objective assessment. Emphasis on objective assessment. Of course we have the objective or particular assessment, so that seems correct also. So that should not be there in poor analysis, right? Overgeneralize. If we overgeneralize a particular research, analysis, that would be our poor analysis. So C should be there. Oversimplification. Simplification is easy, but oversimplification can actually create confusion in our research, right? So that should also be there. So CD is definitely is the part of poor analysis. Non-identification of the social context, that is talking about non, right? So it should be, or it is yes. We have the answer here, C, D, and E. And in historical research, poor analysis can be attributed to several factors, like overgeneralization. If we do excessive amount of data or information to analyze, it can lead to difficulties in identifying and prioritizing relevant evidence, right? Oversimplification, it also create complexion in historical events or phenomena, can result in superficial or inaccurate analysis, failing to capture the nuances and complexity of the subject matter. Fine. Non-identification of social context, it means ignoring or neglecting the social, cultural and political context in which historical events occurred, can limit the understanding and interpretation of those events, right, leading to incomplete or biased analysis. Question number 27. We're already 36 minutes, that's good, and we have already finished 10 questions, right? So question number 27, it is talking about middle range theory. So middle range theory is what? Is it wider domain, limited domain, flexible domain, or representative domain? So write in the chat box if you know the answer. Tell me. Anyway, I'll just explain this and move. 27 is talking about middle range theory, right? Middle range theory, and operates in limited domain. That is should be our answer, not in wider, flexible or representative. And why? Because middle range theories and research operates in limited domain. Why? Unlike grand theory, we have grand theory, right? I'll talk about all the theories that are actually quite popular in research, and I think yes, it is all here in extra park. So that's going to be a long question for us. So that aims to explain phenomena broadly. Middle range theory focus on specific aspects or phenomena within a more confined scope, right? And we have the grand theory with good example also. So all the theories are here, starting with grand, middle range, grounded, hypothesis, system theory, feminist theory, constructive, and others, right? So we'll just go quickly. When we talk about grand, remember that question you are getting not only, I mean, they have already asked related to that grand theory. It is quite important, and just pay attention to it. Is what? Comprehensive and abstract theories that aim to explain broad aspects of social phenomena. So it's not limited to the small one, but it's like broad aspects of the social phenomena, right? The like example, we have the structural functionalism and conflict theory. Middle range is for the what? For specific aspects or phenomena within a limited domain. So through the keyword you can understand. Example is like social learning theory and symbolic interactionalism, right? Interaction symbol. So grounded theory is also that these three they have asked many times, right, regarding that. So it is what grounded theory is like. It happens in inductive analysis of qualitative data. So when you are doing that descriptive kind of research, right, or qualitative research, so that grounded theory comes in that. So it is inductive analysis of the quantitative data, aiming to generate concept to the theories directly from data. Example is what Strauss and Corbin's grounded theory of chronic illness. We have hypothesis testing theories. This theory that proposes specific hypothesis and aim to test empirically. Through the name we can understand, right? Hypothesis. System theory is what it is as complex system of interacting component and focusing on relationship with the system. So example is like ecological system theory, which examines the influence of various system like microsystem, mesosystem on human development, right? So feminist theory, of course, it talks about the gender inequality and all. The constructive theories, again, it is talking about the individual role of individual in constructing knowledge and understanding their social reality. Some example is constructivism, what they suggest that knowledge and meaning are socially constructed through interaction and shared understanding. Fine, I hope it is clear. Now it is talking about autoethnography. So it's like autobiography, right? Through the name you can just understand what is. Ethnography is talking about the culture, right? So auto is somewhere about the personal thing, not for the local tribe, cultural essence or community. So it is about personal experiences, and that should be our answer. Wow, nice, easy question, right? Autoethnography that focuses on analyzing and interpreting personal experience within a cultural social context, and it involves the researcher reflecting on their own experiences, beliefs and interaction, and using them as data to gain insight into larger cultural or social phenomena. It is a form of qualitative research that emphasizes the subjective understanding and interpretation of personal experiences, right? Question number 29, again it is about two statement, and this talks about focus group discussion. It is about focus group discussion is a part of formative research. Focus group, formative. Our formative research is what can be both qualitative and quantitative. So of course, some research, what happens, like it happens formative research and also mixed research employs qualitative and quantitative research. So that can happen. So statement 2 is second. Statement 1, focus group discussion is a part of formative research. That should also be true. So both the statements are true, that is our answer, and why we have the explanation for it. So focus group discussion is a part of formative research. Why this is true? Because focus group discussion are commonly used in formative research to gather qualitative data and insights from the participants, right? Statement second says formative research can be both qualitative and quantitative. This is also true. Because informative research can involve various research method, including both qualitative and quantitative approaches. Fine, question number 30. We have already discussed 15 question in just how many minutes or hour? Let me see. Already 38 hour, and we have finished 15 question. That 35 minutes, and so, did I say hour? Anyway, 44 minutes. 44 minutes we have covered 15 questions. So total 30 question, right? Question number 30 says it is about test and it about description and reliability. Test and retest is what? Through the word you can understand. And test and retest, delivering a question 2.0, providing different version of questionnaires which are equivalent. Test and reset, different version of questionnaire. That cannot be. It is like the test you're doing the same again and again. The same test conducted by different people, not different people, but one people, right? So fourth, the same test over a period frame. So that is our category. A is 4. Where do we see A4? only in one option. You can just simply answer. Hi, so easy, right? Second says be inter-rater. Inter-rater seems to be delivering a question in two parts. What do you think? No, right? Providing different version of a questionnaire which are relevant. The same test conduct. Inter-rater, right? Test is with the same and inter-rater is with others. So that is B3. And test and retest already we covered. That was our this one, right? The same test over a period of time. What is parallel form? It is talking about form, and in parallel, through the word we can understand that it is talking about different version or parallel version of a questionnaire which are equivalent for the right. And the last one says split hop is the like two parts. Through the word we can understand. So that is our answer. We have what are test and retest is the same test over a period of time. Inter-rater, it is the same test but by different people. Parallel forms about the different version of questionnaire which are equivalent to response. Split hop is about two parts, right? Questionnaire in two parts separately to a sample group. Survey research. So survey research usually where it happens, tell me, in history, physics, sociology, or hermeneutic. Quite easy for you, right? Survey we do in society, right? In with people we do the research. That comes in sociology. That should be our answer. That is our answer. Great. Why? Everybody know? Do I need to explain or shall I move? Anyway, I'll just explain why should we leave anything behind, right? So the survey research is one of the key methods in sociology, and what it involves collecting data from a sample or individual or group through the use of structural questionnaires or interviews, right? Everybody knows about this survey. Question number 32, method of social. Now we are talking about the social research are directly linked to a different version of what? A social reality, laboratory experiment, or through the word we can even understand that is about social, like social reality, not about simulation, not about virtual reality. These are completely like very far opposite direction. So these two are not. Laboratory can happen, but this social reality seems a little bit closer, and that is our answer, right? So why method of social research directly linked with different version of social reality? And the social research methods are designed to study and understand various aspects of social reality, such as like social interaction, behaviors, norms, beliefs, and structures, right? So that was quite easy question for us. Now we talk about grand theory. I told you, the question they have asked about the grand theory not only once but several times. So grand theory, grounded theory, right, and that middle range theory, these are quite important that people use in their research. Not people, the researcher use in their research and thesis, right? So grand theory is one of the for social science. Of course, it is when it is about grand theory, it is like broad perspective about a social or a people, right? So through the word we can understand it is higher level of abstraction, lower level, simplistic level, or categorically. If you know, you can just write in the chat box. So when you talk about broad view of a particular society, social sciences, that approach in higher level of abstraction. So that should be our answer, and it is our answer. Fine, great. So why grand theory? We have already talked in our previous question about grand theory, ground theory, feminism, all these things, right? And we also talked about middle range theory. We talked about Hawthorne effect. We talked about so many things. Anyway, this is all. You tell 50 question must have revised everything. I mean, it involves every single thing is there in this syllabus, and very important one. So if it is a 50 question, don't think it's just a 50 question. It's about 5-year question, right? Because every year they ask 5 questions from each unit. So this is from the 5 previous 5 year questions, previous 5 years, so you will understand. You are actually revising everything in just one day. Isn't it great? So grand theory is what it is of social science, operates at a higher level abstraction, meaning that overreaching theory that seeks to explain and understand broad aspects of human behavior, again society, interaction. So these theory provide overreaching framework. As I told you, broad aspect, this keyword is important for us, right? This keyword is important for us, broad aspects. And these theory provide overarching framework and concept that can be applied to various specific situation and phenomena within the social sciences. Question number 34, and it is talking about again qualitative research. That should be easy if you have taken the class about all the types of research. We have discussed all different kind of research, whatever they have asked in the past, whatever they are going to ask, everything is there in that class. If you watch that class, might be a little bit boring, but of course the research thing is like that, right? But we have good examples there. But anyway, here we are talking about qualitative research. So qualitative is all about interpretive things, ideas, concepts and all these things, right? And it is also about particular it involves inductive reasoning always. So qualitative inductive, quantitative deductive, which is numerical or statistical, right? So qualitative research is all about what? Causes and consequences, or non-purposive, evaluative and descriptive. That should both, descriptive should be there because, and also both, I guess, because it is about qualitative, right? So our answer, these two is like certain. And let's see where is this D and E together. And it seems D and E is in two options. So these there. And non-purposive is actually for not directly related to the types of research questions. So that is like different. We didn't talk about it, but anyway, that should not be there. And B is cause and consequence. Of course, any research you are doing, anything, if you are even applying a theory, it will have like if you manipulate independent variable, of course you will get the consequences. The causes will be your independent, consequences your dependent variable, right? So that should be there. And of course it should be predictive as well. So only in one option, it seems we have all the options together, right? So we have the types. What are these? Causes and consequences. These questions explore the relationship between variables, again told you now about independent, and seek to understand the factors that influence outcomes or events. Predictive is what it is, option C. And predictive is that it aims to predict, forecast future events or outcome based on the pattern and phenomena or the trends observed. We evaluate definitely in qualitative research, like its value, effectiveness or impact of the program or intervention or phenomena. Descriptive is like must in qualitative research. So detailed, it is a detailed and comprehensive description of understanding of particular phenomena or the result. Fine. So I hope you understand this. And we have question number 35. Again, it is about two statement, time and cost. It is about time and cost are not relevant in determining the sample. So what do you think? Is it true or is it false? Tell me. It is question number 35, right? We'll just, now you can see it clearly. Okay. You want me to zoom more, or that is enough? that's enough. So time and cost are not relevant in determining the sample. Why? Because of course when you find samples, it takes a lot of effort, right? It takes your time, it consumes time, it also sometimes it's quite expensive. So sample size, this is completely false, because it does require time and cost also. So that is false. And unit non-response, so unit non-response and item non-response do not matter in deciding the sample. So of course when unit non-response and item non-response, why? Because what happens when a participant, suppose you are just got one sample, or got volunteer or not volunteer, any participant that you have taken from the population, that participant your sample, right? And you just ask him question and he does not answer, he doesn't reply you or anything. So if he's non-responsive and item no matter in deciding sampling error. So this is does not matter deciding the sampling error. Of course if it's non-responsive, then it will matter in sampling, right? It will be your error in the sample. So do not matter, it is saying. So it is also completely false, completely false. So it seems like both the statement should be false. Sorry, both, not this one, yeah, 2-1, right? This is, so both statements, statement 1 and 2 are false. So statement 1 is false because time and cost are really important determining the subject and the sample size, and research need to consider available resources and constraints when deciding on the sample size, right? So statement second says that it is about a unit non-response, or when selected participant do not participate, that is non-response, right? And item not responsive, when participants do not answer a specific question, can introduce bias, right, and affect the sampling error. So non-responsive can impact the representative of the sample and the accuracy. And here it says in the statement second that do not, right, do not matter. It definitely matters in the sampling error. So that is our answer. Question number 36 is talking about when the consistent of data collection, we are talking about data collection, right, is measured as at a different points in time. Okay, it is identified as different point of time. It is inter-rater, test retest. We talked about on test retest is like test over a period of time, that is test retest. Inter-rater is test taken by two people. Split half, we already talked about it, that it is divided into two part, and internal reliability is another one. So you have to answer which one is data collected at different point in time, over a time, right? So of course through the time we are getting, it must be test and retest should be our answer, and that is our answer. Test retest, I'll just go once again. What is inter-rater? We'll just start with test retest. Just simple example. Let's say you take a math test today and then take the same test again next week. Test retest reliability means that if you perform well on the test today, you should also perform well on the same or test next day, right? And this helps to determine if the test results are consistent over time. So that's why it was the answer. Inter-rater reliability is what? So with example, imagine you and your friend have to rate how funny different jokes are. And inter-rater reliability means that if other people also rate the jokes, they should give a similar rating as you and your friend. This helps ensure that the rating are consistent. I told you it is by different people, not by the same person, right? So split half is odd. You divide. Suppose you have a set of 20 math problem and split them into two groups, 10 problem each. Split half reliability means that if you solve 10, one group of problem correctly, you should also solve the other group of problem correctly, right? Internal reliability, a simple example, imagine you have a questionnaire with different questions about your favorite animal, food and hobbies, or books or whatever. So internal reliability means that if you answer one question in a certain way, you should answer similar question in a similar way. So this helps to ensure the questionnaire is reliable and measure what it intends to measure. I think we have already studied 1 hour. Yes. And with 13 more questions, I think I should stretch it half an hour more, and then we'll try to finish. So change of behavior in people. It is talking about behavior, right? So the question says the change of behavior in people, okay, after they come to know that they are being participants. Of course, it's like if you are doing a research on particular person, or suppose just you are making a video, right, to a person, and he doesn't know in the beginning, but then he comes to realize that okay, I'm being shot, they are filming me. They'll be more conscious, right? Their behavior will completely change. They'll pretend, or they'll just do like what it should be done, like like proper, and they'll just be in different poses and all. So that effect, like now participant has come to know that they are being experimented, then they are in a research product procedure result that they do not have validity is known as, the answer is simple, Hawthorne effect, that we already talked about, right? So simple example, if you can just this is the full description of the other. So Hawthorne effect refers to the change in behavior or performance of individual when they know they are being observed or participated in a research. This effect can lead to altered behavior that may not reflect the participants' natural responses, potentially impacting the validity of the research finding, right? I told you about this filming a person. When he realized that he is being filmed, he will change his behavior, right? So that is Hawthorne effect. Other option, blind effect, is the term does not specifically related to research behavior. Okay, evaluation effect is, this term is not commonly used in context of research behavior. Demand, this is sometimes used to describe how participant may respond based on their perception of what the researcher expect or wants him to say. Question number 38. I think I shall take it later. Anyway, just answer this. I'll just take 1 minute break. So we have already studied 1 hour. So in like 2.5 hours, all your research is revised, all your PYQ are solved, all the explanation has already been discussed. Has also, what happens? That your second unit is finished, right? We'll start third unit. We can skip because it is all about reading and comprehensive, and it is all based on your judgment and the way you read the passage and how much focused you are while reading it. So if you're focused and if you're a reader, you might be able to answer correctly. So that we don't need to take class on. We'll just start communication, and then after communication we'll just move to the mathematical reasoning, logical reasoning, data interpretation, and all important topics. So let's try to finish this now. So some of the threats, so it's talking about the threats in internal validity in research are maturation, history, attribution, pre-testing, or quasi in experimental design. Quasi cannot be, but let's see. But anyway, you just answer whatever you know. We'll just move quickly to the explanation. It should be attribution, right? Attrition. So this refers to participants dropping out or withdrawing from the study. So it is something like whenever a participant wants to withdraw from the experiment, that is attrition. And history, this refers to the external events or factors occurring due to the study that may influence the outcome. So making it like difficult to determine if the observed changes are due to that independent or dependent variable, right? So actually independent variable. Maturation refers something kind of natural changes or development that occurred over time. So these are internal validity. What is our answer? C, D, and E. So attrition refers to the participant dropping out or withdrawing from the study. History is what? It is external event factor occurring during the study that may influence the outcome, making it difficult to determine if the observed changes are solely due to the independent variable. Maturation is the natural changes over time. And why both are not there? Because are not threats to internal validity, but rather research design or procedure that can be used to address or mitigate threats and internal validity. Question number 39, two statements talking about again focus group discussion. The moderator is supposed to provide a liberal climate for participants to open up, right? And through the reading we can understand that is true. Like focus group discussion, moderator is supposed to provide a liberal climate for participant to. So here there what moderator does, he just provide a liberal climate, a climate and environment for all the participants or whoever the that we have taken to open up. So that seems correct. Participants of focus group discussion should rant about individual experience of comparison. So rant about individual, that seems completely false, right? So our answer is statement 1 is true, but the statement 2 is false. Easy, right? And here are some explanation based on that. I explained that what moderator does, he encourages participants to express their opinion, thoughts, and experiences freely without fear of judgment or criticism. And in second statement says that it rant. So while participants are encouraged to share their personal experience right openly in the by the first statement, we can understand focus group discussion aim to explore and understand collective perspective, group dynamic, and share the theme. So discussion aim to what? Generate insights that go beyond individual experiences and provide a broader understanding of the topic being discussed. Question number 40 is here. It is talking about steps of research, the scope for creativity in imagination. Where does this happen? This is scope of creativity and imagination. So while you do the research, you are very creative of making hypothesis, right? You create a general idea, like suppose you're just doing about research on health, right? So in health you'll say like apple has health benefit because I have been eating ham, because or my grandparents or whatever friends or whoever are surrounded by, they are eating apples and now they are healthy than the others, and you just realize that really apple has health benefits. So you come with that hypothesis or the title that it has. So that is kind of, it involves creativity and imagination, right? Hypothesis. So identifying variable and hypothesis should be your answer. Question number 41 talking about a college teacher, okay, does research with a view depict that reality situation relating to the home condition of a student and hostel provided for. So it is the same question that we got in like earlier, right? It was about a school teacher was doing the research on socio-economic based on the factors of the parents' socio-economic status, right? And it was the answer like the socio-economic who has, these parents are more focused into educating their children than the people than of the other. I mean, socio-economic it based on the category, like wealthy or rich people would want the children to teach, and while the poor people would of course want them to teach, but want them to go into the college and do their education, but there is required, like they also need to work to provide for the family. So these are the factors. That is what a college teacher is doing the research, depict a reality situation relating to the home condition of student and hostel provided for. It is talking about home and hostel now. In the previous question that was talking about socio-economic, right? So which of the following research format will helpful to do that? Experimental, descriptive, participant observation, or ethnographic research. So of course ethnographic would not be, because it's all about the culture, right? So that is definitely not there. Descriptive research is all about qualitative research. Of course it can include, but it would not specifically find out about it, right? So descriptive cannot be there. Experimental research can be, but how will you experiment? I mean, it can, you can put people in home and also in hostel, that can be done, but participant observation based research. So what is the basic and the easiest way to do? You just observe that participants, and they note down their behavior, and that is our answer also. And why? Because participant observation based research would be helpful in this case, as it allows the researcher to directly observe and immerse themselves in the home condition of students and hostel provided for. So this approach will allow for a deep understanding of the reality of the situation and provides an opportunity to gather rich qualitative data through first-hand experience and interaction with the participants, right? Experimental method is usually what we have all the research types here, and we'll just go quickly about it. So this is all in one line with one example, right? So we have now okay, 1 minute break. Meanwhile, just read it. I'll just Okay, fine. So we'll begin now. Experiment is like investigating the effect of a new drug on a specific medical condition through controlled experiment, right? So that is our experimental research. Descriptive is what? Descriptive is examining the prevalence and characteristics of smartphone users among teacher through survey and observation, right? Correlation, all are these examples that I'm providing. Through that you will under correlation as research is what? It is analyzing the relationship between stress level and academic performance among college student. Qualitative is all about the particular to general, and exploring the lived experience of individual affected by natural disaster through in-depth interview and thematic. Quantitative is about numbers, right? Statistical. So measuring the effectiveness of new teaching method by comparing test scores of the student and revised method versus those who did not, right? Case study is what it is. In-depth examination of single individual or organization to understand their unique characteristics and experience. Action is what you always do, like problem solving kind of thing, right? So collaborative, working with teachers to improve classroom practice, and it is also a continuous process and outcome in the social school. Historical research, you investigate the causes and consequences of World War II by analyzing archive document, diaries and historical records. Cross-sectional research is like surveying a diverse sample of adults to examine what their attitude and behavior towards climate change. And longitudinal, all is there. One more research is like following a group of individual over several years during long-term and effective childhood intervention on educational outcome. Inductive reasoning. So inductive and deductive, here we are talking about with the keyword, and that is quite important. So inductive happens where? In qualitative research, right? So that you should know, and it is also specific to general or particular to general, right? That is your inductive and qualitative. Deductive is what? Deductive is for quantitative research, and it is like general to particular, general to specific. And some keywords in inductive are observation, we observe, and specific, we start with a specific or particular observation, and then we come to the conclusion that there is a general statement based on that. And there is patterns, there is exploration, bottom up, and qualitative is quite important. And it's like inductive reasoning is like collecting puzzle pieces to figure out the bigger picture. It starts with observing specific things and then making a general conclusion. For example, suppose if you see red apple, you might conclude that all the apples are red, right? And in the deductive reasoning is like a set of rules to solve a problem. So it starts with the general information or rules and applies them to specific. Suppose if you know that all cats have fur and Fluffy is a cat, you can deduct that Fluffy has fur, right? So it is based on theory, it is general to specific, general to particular also. Hypothesis, testing, top down, and inductive is whereas bottom up, right? So deductive is top down and quantitative is the keyword. Now we have positivism and post-positivism. It's quite important, and you might get a question based on that as well. So positivism is what? It is an approach, okay, for research that emphasizes the use of objective measurable data to understand and explain the world, and it believes that knowledge can be obtained through direct observation and scientific method. For example, in a positivist study on the effect of exercise on mental health, and researcher may collect data on the number of hours participant exercise each week and measure their self-reported stress level. An empirical objective, some of the keyword that it is positivism has the word empirical, it has objective, it is also quantitative, it has verification, it has laws, cause and effect, reductionism, objectivity, and determinism, positivist paradigm. Post positive, on the other hand, is what acknowledge that complete objectivity and absolute may not be reliable. So what happened in positivism? Suppose we did one research on something, right? If you're a positivist thinker, you will use like scientific research. Okay, that is true. Rain happens when clouds are formed, right? This is like valid truth is there. This is your positivist thought. But in post positivism is something different. I mean, he says it cannot be, sometime can be proven wrong, it can be, may not be true or may be true. So post positivism is like that. So it recognizes the role of subjectivity and interpretation in the research process. Post positivists still value empirical evidence but also consider the confluence social and cultural factors on knowledge. For instance, in a post positivism study on the impact of cultural belief, healthcare decision, a researcher may collect both quantitative and quantitative data on treatment outcome and qualitative data also through interview to understand participants' cultural perspective and experience. Some of the keyword critical, it is interpretative, it is qualitative, contextualization, understanding, multiple. So whatever the research we do on humanities or some social aspects, that comes under post positives, because the fact could also over time can change. If it is true right now in 2023, maybe in 2020, 30 or 40 or 50, it can change. The complete picture might change. So the post positivism positivists are actually open for that thought as well. So some of the important keyword is here, that it can be critical, it can be interpretive, it is qualitative, contextualization, it is understanding multiple perspective, subjectivity, social construction, reflexivity, and post positivism paradigm, right? Question number 42 says about, in case research population heterogeneous like diverse kind of thing. So which of the following diverse sampling, you can say, which of the following sampling technique will ensure optimal representativeness of the sample? So whatever is there, like in diverse, right, is always like a random sampling is good for the all. I mean, if we are doing research on something, it is recommended that it should be random sampling, right? So it is talking about the what optimum representativeness. So it is in stratified random sampling. So stratified random sampling is the appropriate sampling technique when the research population is diverse, like different kind of. It ensures that optimum representativeness of sample units by dividing the population into homogeneous subgroups or strata based on certain characteristics, and then randomly selecting samples from each strata or stratum. This helps to capture the variability within the population and ensure that each subgroup is adequately represented in the sample. Here all kind of sample is there, and we are going to explain. Simple is what? Simple random, you just, if there are 100 students, you take one from anywhere, there is not. So it has like equal chance of getting selected. So participants are selected randomly from the population, giving an equal chance of selection of each individual. So example is like randomly selecting 100 students from a school population of 1000. Cluster sampling, you create in a group, everything is in groups, so the population divided into cluster or small groups, and random sample sizes of cluster is selected. So suppose all individual with the selected cluster included in the sample. Example, selecting a few school from a district. So like there are some private school, there are some government school. It is impossible to collect all the schools, right? So you just collect few here and there one school, and it has the equal chance. So quota sampling is like non-random. It is participants are selected to fulfill predetermined quotas based on a specific criteria. Example, ensuring a certain number of participants from each age group and gender category, right? And stratify is good. Simple and stratify both are really good for the sampling. So the population is divided into distinct subgroups, so that subgroup is called strata, and participants are randomly selected from each strata in proportion to their representation in the population. Example, dividing a city's population into income groups and randomly select participant from each group of study on economic disparities, right? And systematic sampling is just like if there are 100 people, you just select after 5, like 5, then 10, then like 15th, like 16th, one number from particular. So that can be systematic, right? Question number 43 is in your screen. It is talking about a statistical technique. Again, it is talking about a statistical technique and will be appropriate for data analysis because when the observations are available in the form of frequency. So if it is talking about frequency, it is a chi-square test. Non-parametric chi-square test. How long it is a class now? Let me check. We are already 1 hour 27 minutes and counting. Anyway, what is a non-parametric chi-square test? Would be appropriate for data collection when the observations are available in the form of frequency. So this test is commonly used to assess the association between categorical variable and determine if the observed frequencies differ significantly from the expected frequency. Unlike parametric tests that make assumption about the distribution of data, non-parametric tests are distribution free. Anyway, these are explanation that we'll talk about in some other. We just need to finish everything in 3 minutes. Only 5 questions are remaining, and for that we have 44 question here. A research scholar, while finally reporting what the research results in the form of thesis, acknowledge the support of his superior in the preface. This will be treated as a what? We are talking about a research scholar, while finally it is about reporting the research result, like whatever the finding that he has found in his research in the form of a thesis, acknowledge the support of his superior in the preface. So which will be treated as what? We have to if the researcher is doing research and at the end of the reporting, it is his duty that he should of course mention the support that he has gone. So it is sheer formality, needed formality, or superficial. These are part of ethically. If you don't mention, that will be like, okay, you're taking the advantage of that and you're not mentioning your supervisor or whoever the people have contributed in your research. That should be mentioned, right? So part of ethically, it is ethically correct. So that is our answer also. So acknowledging the supervisor support in the preface of a research thesis is considered a part of ethical practice in academy, and it is a way of recognizing and appreciating the guidance, mentorship, and support provided by the supervisor throughout the research process. So it demonstrates professional courtesy and gratitude to the supervisor's contribution to the scholar's research, right? So that is our thing. So anyway, extra POC is there. That is kind of keywords in ethically research ethics. It should be informed, consent, confidentiality and privacy. There should be research integrity. It should be, they are all what research ethic, avoiding harm, even harm to the data or harm to the participant sample, all conflict of interest, data manipulation should not be there, and plagiarism and attribution should not be there, it should be avoided. Ethically review board and research misconduct should not be there, and constitutional guideline you have to follow, and participants welfare if the participants there, good, and data protection, inclusion and diversity, transparency and reporting, institution approval. Question number 45, it is talking about identify which are called non-probability. So one is probability sampling, another is non-probability sampling. So in non-probability, all the random thing will come here, right? So one random, it should be our answer, right? Stratify sampling, it should be because it is non-probability. So non-probability is the different, it should, 2 is snowball, a dimensional sampling, sorry, no, okay, sorry. So non-probability, all the random, simple random should be there. Our answer is probability sampling is sorry, a little bit confusion here, this is not the one, this is probability. Non-probability is like quota sampling should be there, quota sampling should be there because it is like if you're comfortable, if whatever is available you take it, and non-probable is a simple random thing. So this is not, okay. So quota sampling, and answer is third also is snowball sampling. This is also non-probable because it has, like if you go and you take one sample or one participant and you ask him that if he can refer somebody else, then he'll refer like to snowball, right, to other person, and then you'll go and do that, and then the other person will refer to the other. So through that it's snowball sampling. That is not probability, that is non-probability sampling. Another is what, fifth is already there, second is dimensional sampling, and stratified, random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling are probability sampling. All the sampling is mentioned here now, and simple random is what, like you take from a particular, the definition it will be like procedure involving randomly selecting participant from the population. Random is non-probability, it is probabilities, as random is probability, dimensional is non-probability, snowball is non-probability, and where participants are initially identified and recruited, right? Cluster is probability sampling, you have to remember, and you can just see in the color of that, like in blue, this is probability. These are non-probability. Quota is also non-probability, so it is non-probability. Stratify is the probability. So you should remember all these keywords, right? So extra park, all the random we have already discussed in our previous class, but one more time, many times we have. So all the samplings are mentioned here. Question number 46, it is talking about, answer is already have seen, is called conceptual framework. Conceptual framework is conducted is called what? Your design. It is your research design. Okay, so we have somewhere 46 question. That's nice. 4 more questions, then we are done. Right, we have already studied over 1.5 hours, and there was one class before that, it was also around 1 hour, and in 3 hours you have already what? Covered all research aptitude. So the framework you do in research design. The conceptual framework in which research is conducted is called the research design. It outlines the overall plan and structure of the study, including the research question or objectives. So the methods and procedure to be used and the overall approach to gathering and analyzing data. So the research design provides what? A roadmap for the research, and of course we have now all the steps of research, and with the example you will understand what happened. In the beginning you make a synopsis, right? So a synopsis is what? Is a summary of your overview of research project. So in example, a synopsis: research on the impact of social media and mental health. So research design is like overall plan and strategy for conducting a research study. Example is a research design for a quantitative study on the relationship between exercise and academic performance may involve selecting sample participants. These are the example anyway. Hypothesis that you formulate a statement, right? A particular statement or proposition that predict a relationship between variables or the expected outcomes of the research. Research paradigm, on the other hand, is what? It refers to the overarching framework of perspective that guides researcher approach to studying a particular phenomena. Question number 47, it is talking about a scheme. It is asking you a name of the scheme which facilitate what? Academic and research collaboration between Indian institution and the best institution in the world. And it is SPARK is our answer, and SPARK is a scheme of promotion of academic and research collaboration. It is what? Academic and research collaboration between Indian institution and the best institution in the world, called SPARK. And this is the important one. Other are mentioned here. One is Indian Council of Social Science Research, that is ICSSR. Staff Development Scheme, SPARK, School of Promotion of Academic and Research Collaboration. Institutional Development Scheme. The Institution Development Scheme aims to support the overall development and strengthening of educational institution in India. Question 48 is about kind of drop, but answer should be regression. Here it was quite confusing, but everywhere had different key, answer key, and through the questions we can get that it must be regression. So a shift in attitude in respondents between 2 points during data collection is called regression. Regression or maturation it says, but it is regression. The regression effect known as regression to the mean, occurs when extreme value measured at one point in time tend to move closer to the average or mean when measured again. All the explanation are there also. 49. The time frame in which study explore a situation or problem is called what? A reference period. Answer. We are just going quickly, and these are, we have anyway studied so much today. So the time frame in which a study explores a situation or problem is called a reference period. 50. The major characteristics it is talking about correlation analysis is seek out what? Association among variables, independent or dependent variable. So that's all today. It's done. We have completely revised the research attitude. We solved every PYQ, and we had so much things to learn, right? And if you are able to watch this fully, if you can watch, it will definitely help you so much, because here we have the PYQ explanation. We had really good discussion on every kind of research types, and we have also discussed the sampling. We also talked about all the keywords related to things. We also talked about theories. We talked about effects. We talked about, well, what not, you tell me. Every single thing is whatever is there in your syllabus, we have discussed in that 2 hours session. I hope it was fruitful for you, and I'm going to take a leave, but before that you have to subscribe this channel if you really want the class, and if you don't want to miss anything related to paper 1 or English, or there will be many things upcoming. It's our nerd school. We are not only going to teach one subject, but there will be like how to write, how to make a career online, how to earn money from your home, and there will be so much classes based on that. Based on every single topic, or it will be also programming. There will be classes on K to 12. So everything will be there. So for you guys, that will be enough. You should follow this channel, and also press that notification bell, right? Anywhere in your screen, wherever it's there. Anyway, so of course, subscribe this channel and press that bell icon, and you won't miss any single video. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Have a good day, and don't forget to enroll also. Ta-da.